Yeah, we good.
All
We
right,
good.
live and in concert,
We
baby.
had to get the lower paid people turn that on for you.
Come on now. Come on. How are you? How are you doing?
Doing good. And then with you is Theresa Erickson. And Theresa, welcome to the studio. How are you, ma'am?
Thank you. I appreciate it. Doing well. Great.
This is, Alex, a new division, a new office. Is that what it is?
No, not a new office. This is a new staff member. Theresa joins us from the Community Foundation of Mississippi, but a lot of what people probably don't understand about the Nature Conservancy, Paul, is that we're a nonprofit 501c3, and a lot of our revenue is generated from private donations. And so Theresa will be heading up that operation for us.
Got it.
She joined us last week, and she has been drinking from a fire hose ever since.
Tell me a little bit about it, where you came from and how long you've been doing some other things here and why you wanted this position.
Sure. I mean, I feel like I've grown up in development. I was at Hattiesburg Clinic for 20 years as a business development officer. And all during that time, I served on a lot of nonprofit boards just because I love volunteering and I love helping nonprofits become stronger. And so I was just bitten by that bug and eventually was given the opportunity to work at the Pine Belt Community Foundation. And community foundations really are about helping all nonprofits become a little bit more sustainable by growing endowments. And I've been doing that work across the state pretty much, northwest Mississippi and the Hattiesburg area, and now at the Community Foundation for Mississippi. Been doing that work for about 12 years. So I've always been in development. I love working with people. I love helping nonprofits become stronger. And when TNC reached out to me, I just was amazed because my big passion is nature, being out on whether it's in the water or it's kayaking or gardening and getting my hands in the dirt. I just love being in nature, and so it just seemed to be a perfect fit for me, and I'm pretty excited.
When you look at this, Theresa, and also because I think people, if you ask anybody exactly what your day-to-day job is, what do you want to accomplish, what are some of the problems that you want to solve, what would you tell them?
Well, first, helping people know that there's a Mississippi
chapter. I need you to turn that mic a little bit. The volume is kind of low there. Just bring it up to you just a little bit, the microphone. Just toss. There you go.
Okay. Okay. I think first is just making sure people know about the Nature Conservancy and what we do. I mean, I've known about the Nature Conservancy all my life, I feel like, but I didn't know that there was a chapter in Mississippi. And I know that in Mississippi, so many people love hunting and fishing. And that's what it's really about, is protecting our lands and waters. And the more that we can help people know that and know the work that TNC does, I think we'll really be able to make a difference for future generations.
Alex, does this play into the trust fund in any way? Because I know that one's off and running with some tremendous success so far.
How about that? We've come a long way, haven't we, Paul?
Man, we were talking about that for how many? 3 years? 2 for sure.
I tell you what, I was looking through those projects they announced last week or week before last, and
unbelievable.
And it's just, that was great work. A lot of people involved, and a lot of money leveraged. And I expect the same in the next round, and I expect that we'll just see that grow. But that's this particular opportunity with Theresa. It plays right into the work we do. She'll be helping support our policy work, whether it's through the Outdoor Stewardship Trust Fund or if it's federally related. We've got a number of opportunities up there. Right now on the books is Recovering America's Wildlife Act, which Cindy Hyde-Smith and Roger Wicker have now co-sponsored. That'd be another federal pot of money that we'll actually see if it gets passed and signed into law. But no, Theresa's work gets to touch every aspect of our efforts day to day, whether it's conservation on the ground, whether it's policy, you name it. And so that's the development job. The philanthropy job is one of the fun jobs because you get to work in each of the areas that we work in every day across the state. So your day to day there's no monotony to that. It is quite different.
And it definitely has been a fire hose the last week.
when you start looking at, especially in some of the cities, larger cities, and very active and robust cities in our state, where you have a lot of younger people moving into, whether it's Madison or Ocean Springs or up in the DeSoto County area, it just seems to be more and more that this generation or the last couple of generations they want to do more outdoors, biking, trails, things such as that. Even I'm heartened by looking at some of the camping sales by younger people. They're getting back to camping, which is good.
Yeah, that's right. And the statistics were showing us that, Paul, when we were pushing the Outdoor Stewardship Trust Fund. We knew that people were actually making decisions about where they were going to live the rest of their life based on access to the outdoors and opportunities such as that. So, it's very heartening, and those statistics are all across the U.S. too. It's not just Mississippi, so it's very heartening to see that. I think COVID probably had a little bit to do with that as well, and you're seeing that trend continue. Absolutely. And so it's nice to see that it wasn't just a one-off, and that this is probably a more sustained statistic than just a blip on the radar.
Theresa, I've said this before, and I still believe it, that when we can, a good park system, and I see this over and over, people with a kid or two kids, and they want to get out and they want to do something. They don't want to go, 5 states across the country. They would love to have something. All of a sudden, they find out there's great lodging with a good park, walking trail, maybe discus throw or a lake to fish in and some rental boats. And they say, what the heck? And all of a sudden, the accommodations are great. And all of a sudden, they love the camping trip. They go back, they buy a tent, or they come back there, or they buy a boat.
That's right.
Or they get into fishing and hunting. So I just think it's a good diving board into other things.
Absolutely. I mean, as an adult, I learned how to car camp. I built a bed for the back of my Subaru and take my big old German Shepherd, and we camp around too in a Subaru. So I think anybody can do that, and it's just a lot of fun.
Well, and hopefully some of the money and what the legislature has given the state parks, and I know that they're, as a matter of fact, we haven't talked to Lynn in a while, but I know that effort is underway, and they're constantly working on them now, so that's good news. They're being addressed.
It is, and it's good to see that money getting spent out the door, and then, again, back to the trust fund, you see some of those projects that have been awarded or aimed at some of those topics you talked about there and helping fund those.
Yeah. Were you happy with that, with the overall review of those?
Oh, man, I think it was a diverse set of projects. I think it hit on all aspects of outdoor recreation, from Hernando down to the Gulf Coast, across the Mississippi Delta. I mean, it was, when I was reading through that project list, it was like, finally, this is what we came after, and, everybody involved should be happy with that.
You know what my thought was, and I thought about the many times that you and I and other folks came in to debate this thing, and my thought was, man, we couldn't get together on the House and the Senate side, but my thought was, at the end of the day, that process works.
That's right.
It may not be exactly what you wanted, but the process works.
Well, and exactly, and kudos to all the leaders at the Capitol that, really got behind this, maybe not initially, but ultimately were behind it in the long run. And like you said, everybody from Lieutenant Governor Hoseman to Speaker Gunn to Trey Lamar up in Senatobia and Bill Kincaid and those players got together and sometimes had to agree to disagree, and that's fine. Yeah. But at the end of the day, they came up with a great and they got a great bill passed, and you're seeing the fruits of that labor today and the projects that have been listed, and you're going to see it again with the next round, and they were nice enough to give us more money. And tomorrow we can speak a little bit more on that one, because I think the speaker is coming in. He'll be in the studio, so we'll talk to him then. Theresa, don't be a stranger. Come on back when you need some updates or some information for us, would you? I absolutely will. Thank you so much. Alex, always good to see you, sir. Same here, Paul. Hope to see you in person soon. You got it. Let me ask you this real quickly. Sure. How many of those projects were actually put forth that were not chosen? Because there was a lot. I think I would tell you, I forget how many projects that were out there, but they ran out of money real quick, I'll say that. I got you. They'll be on the next round of requests, though, I'm sure. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it very much. Thank you.